If I go, if I go, I can make it fit exactly. Now, until I hit that, does that go live automatically when I say that go live? I go. I believe it does. Now, until I hit that, does that go live automatically when I say that go live? I believe it does. So, I think I might have messed up. Maybe not. Oh no, I messed up.
Hey, you're live.
Yeah, I messed up. How do I stop this and we restart this part of it? Dang it, I just hit the wrong button again. See, this is why you don't let me play with things like this. I'll keep on chatting. Can we just cut this part out? I mean, well, there ain't nobody here yet. That's the problem. Nobody's ready to get on. So it's all right. We'll figure it out. We're just going to go step off of this screen and it'll be fine for a minute or two. Let me get, I do got to get one thing popped back up though, because I need to be able to see some comments. So there we go. Concurrent viewers, here we go, say something there. There's the chat, so we're good with that. One of these days I will learn how to use this technology, I'm just saying. So I'll be stepping aside for a few minutes. See y'all later, bye. I'm going to show the back wall. And he may still get it. I might have it set up to where it's already. Let me probably the settings or something. I'll pop back on the screen and check it out and see. As I zoom in here. Okay. I'm not sure how to do that. Yes, I'll allow co-hosts. Here we go. Who can share all participants? Okay. I think I've updated that, so we should be fine. Hi, Ted.
I may be on this. I'm on. Should I put it on my headset?
Hey, honey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hey, Ted.
He just got his headset on.
I see that.
Hey, Andrew, how are you?
Hi, Ted. I'm fine, thanks.
Give us a view of the parking lot. Let's see how many folks were out there today.
Okay, here we go.
It's kind of loud, huh? I need to turn it down.
That's just me. I'm
I
loud.
saw there were a bunch of people on Reynolds by the Daylight Donuts. There were a bunch of people there. Okay, hold on. Let me flip it to the parking lot. Okay, so the parking lot is full.
Oh, cool.
So where are you at? You at Reynolds? Are you at Sullivan and?
I'm at the
Drive?
stadium.
Oh, stadium. Okay.
I'm at the stadium, and there's a bunch of parents lining up over here with their signs and
well, good deal.
And their cowbells.
Yeah, if you want to get out and talk to a couple of them, you can. I mean, we're live, so I mean we're streaming all this right now on Facebook. So
okay,
not Facebook, but YouTube. I'm sorry. So.
All right, everybody say good morning, Mayor.
Good deal. Yeah, looks like fun.
We got coffee with the mayor this morning, so we are live.
Do you need a computer for anything today? Okay. I got that so I can put it on here. So we're good there.
That's right. Hard working man.
Morning. Off the wrong screen. So there we go. Yeah, in case anybody's watching, and I think we do have one guest right now, Mr. Whitehead is on. My wife is at near the stadium. She's waiting. We're waiting for the send off for the football team today because their state championship is today, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So hopefully I'm actually being heard on here. We changed the view to gallery view. There we go. That'll be better for the moment, maybe. I don't know. Think that's a better view, Ted, or you've got a different view. Never mind. I'm not thinking right. So I think I'll go to speaker view. That way it'll default to Andress when she gets ready to roll and they start screaming. So of course, right now it's on Ted Taylor, city engineer. Oh, we got Chris Street coming on. Let me admit him too, so we can at least have some fun. If nothing else, we'll get some musical entertainment here in a minute.
So we're live on YouTube right now, is that right?
We are live on YouTube, sir. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I do like how you gave the disclaimer when we first came on.
Say something, Andress.
What do you want me to say?
Doesn't matter. I just need you to say something so you can go
okay.
back to full screen.
Okay.
So
Well, it's
probably about
it's
5 minutes before they leave.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be long. The parents standing here were saying, they were all told to be ready at 8:45. I don't think it's not that cold. It's okay out here. It's beautiful this morning. It's going to be a great day for football.
It's going to be a great day for football. It's going to be a great day for the Brown Hornets to win.
Yes, I'm super excited about that, three-peat.
We're going to keep our fingers. It's a feat that's never been done before. So. Are you going to do comments over there, Dana?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I've got them popping over here so I can see them sort of too, but just in case, I'll probably miss something. Hard to get focused with bifocals on these things sometimes. I just saw somebody walk by outside. Looked like a girl's head, but I can only see the top from head up. So looked like a messy bun bouncing by the window a second ago. So are the buses down there already?
I don't see them, so they must be parked on the stadium side of the field house.
Okay. On the gravel?
Yes, they must be on the gravel.
All right, should be any time now. I think they'd be sending off. My understanding is supposed to happen at 9 o'clock. So, excuse me. Let's hope they come down this way, that where we're at for this, as opposed down the other way.
I hope so too.
You know?
I mean, I would assume all these parents can't be wrong.
I figure they can't be either. So, since their kids are probably football players. So
yes.
So if you want to take a few minutes, if you want to ask them some predictions on the score of the game, that might be interesting to hear.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that. Let me mask up. I'm standing far enough away that I was able to remove my protective covering.
Well, that's okay. You can still stand far away enough for that. Just tell them to talk loud.
Okay. Can do. Okay.
Oh, look at you wearing your Bryant mask.
I don't do things halfway, Mr. Mayor.
Well, that is absolutely true.
All right. So Mr. Scott would like to know if you have any predictions on the score. What do you think? Hornets by how many?
At least 20. Yeah, I'm gonna say 20.
At least 20?
I hope at least 20. Yeah, I'm going with 20. I'm going with 20. Yeah. I'm going with 20. Sure.
Okay, did you hear that?
I couldn't hear.
This is their story and they're sticking to it. They're all saying at least by 20.
Well, I'm hoping mercy rule for sure.
He hopes we mercy rule for sure.
Right.
Yes. I like that best. In the first half, I like a solid win, you know? Yes. I agree. I am not. I'm Andrea Scott. I'm Mayor Scott's wife. And I work for the Bryant School District. He has coffee with the mayor today and the first Saturday of every month. And since he's in his office doing coffee with the mayor, he wanted me to come out and Zoom for him so he can see the send off. And then everyone else in the community can see the send off. Okay. So nice to meet you all.
Thank you.
Anytime they'll be here.
Ah!
In case anybody's on here wondering what's going on, my wife is out here live streaming the send off that's going to happen for the Bryant team. So state tournament, state championship is today. So. Oh, look at that great. Can you see Chris Treat's background? Okay.
I can only see you.
I know you can't only see what you're doing. I got that. I was just asking. He's got a picture of where we were at the baseball game, Travelers game, where me and him are in that barrel race. It's pretty funny.
Oh, that's fun.
I'm pretty sure it's where I'm trying.
What's in the barrel?
Nothing. It's empty. It's supposed to be a whiskey barrel, but you know, it's empty. All right.
He tackled me, stole my whiskey, and then laughed at me.
I don't think so, Chris. I don't think that's the way it went, but that's okay. You know?
I remember that conversation being like that he's a winner and that's what winners do.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Come on.
Not throwing no Ricky Bobby out there now.
I don't know.
Well, hopefully they'll be rolling soon for everybody. I know it's just 9:02.
It's just a long time when it's live.
It is absolutely. It's a long time when it's live. Dana goes, it's just 9:02. It's a long time when it's live. So
There are some more cars and a few more parents just up the street here at the entrance on the baseball field side. You know, like the entrance at the back of building 17. There's several more cars there and some parents, some signs. And like I said, I saw some down Reynolds. So that was nice.
good. What'd you not mean to do?
I think you said morning and I retracted it. I don't even know what it is.
It's all right.
But I can't take this.
Hey, just you can say morning again. I can just say morning, Brenda. Yeah, you know, because I think that's who it was on that one. For some reason, we're having issues with messaging, but that's okay. You know, we'll figure it out. Gotta love the fact that we struggle with technology some days here, especially me. So it's always
We're
fun.
learning. We're
Yeah.
learning.
Like I hit a button for this and actually went live way earlier than what I anticipated because I thought I had to hit a second button. So, and that's okay. You know, it's all right. Just shows we're all human.
Oh, look. Let's see here.
Oh, there's a couple of vehicles starting to move. Or
That looked like Chief Jordan, maybe.
We got
maybe, or it might have been
Ashley.
one of our
Ashley
police
Mhm.
officers. So she's probably going to go up and block off the street.
Yeah, I believe that it is Ashley, isn't it?
I
No.
think so.
Hey, and here comes Ashley. Hey, Ashley. Say good morning, Mayor. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning.
Good morning. I am, he's doing coffee with the mayor this morning. So I am hosting us live from location. They just loaded the bus. So. Okay. She said they just loaded the buses.
Oh, and that's a good source too.
Yes.
She's got the inside track on all this.
Yes.
Mayor, why do you have a duck in your office?
He said, why do you have a duck in your office?
A duck hat.
Let me turn it around.
Why do I have a duck hat in my office? Because it's fun to play with. Sometimes they can put it on and make the wings flap.
Maybe it's that derby though.
Yeah, it didn't make its debut at the Duck Derby last year. So, I mean,
What
I've
duck
got
derby?
it in a drawer over there. If I needed to put it on right now, I could for you.
Put it on.
He wants me to put it on. It's on that. I think it's on that side right there.
Yes, it is.
So,
I bet he does. I bet he appears with it any minute now.
Oh, it's right here. I saw the feet.
Here it comes. That guy.
see, it's pretty funny. I'm just going to say, I probably won't wear this the entire time, but
Yeah.
because it's a Brian Hornet day.
That's pretty cute.
Where do you get one from?
I don't know where I got this from. Somebody gave it to me,
Mhm.
but I will loan it to you if you need to borrow it one day. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All good.
Hopefully I won't cut myself.
I think you messed your hair up when you took it off.
Here, let me comb it then real quick. There, that's better.
Oh. Oh, I see the buses turning around.
All right.
I see the buses.
Be that police escort coming out there.
Yeah, I see. They're in front.
Okay.
Looks like
That's what they usually do.
Ledbetter. We'll see. Yep. Woo!
Hey.
The Hornet!
It's like they got all the windows closed on the buses. I guess they're cold.
There's Coach James. There's our athletic director. All right. And there they go.
And there they go. Yay.
They are off to go win state.
Let's hope so. I hope they do. Thank you for doing that for us, Andres. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Good times. That was it.
Hopefully some people will enjoy that. I see Miss Ramsey has joined us and Sue Smith has joined us. Good morning, ladies. How are y'all today? Thank you, Andres. I'm going to move on to a different view here. I'm guessing you're probably going home getting ready to go to the game. I know as soon as I'm done with coffee with the mayor, that's where I'm going. I'm switching to gallery view for now, so we can see all the other pretty faces that are on here as well. So as we watch Andres cross the...
Sorry, I kept trying to push the button. I need a new phone.
Well, you're not the only one.
If Santa is listening, Tell him I need a new phone for Christmas.
Well, coffee with the mayor, I don't know. If he does, I've got a couple of wishes as
I'll let
well.
him know. I'll let him know.
Dana said she'd let Santa know because she's got apparently has an inside track. So
I bet, you know what? Of all the people in this city, I bet she does. Okay, I'll see you later.
all right, see you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, just so everybody does know that it is coffee with the mayor this morning. I appreciate y'all indulging me as we sent the football team off. They will be televised today on AETN at noon, and but there may still be tickets ready and available. And there's a link on the school's website, or I think the website. I know their Facebook and their Twitter has the link, and you can get there and check for tickets if you're wanting to go. I know I plan on being there. I got my tickets earlier this week. It should be a good game. They're playing North Little Rock. And the last time that they met North Little Rock and North Little Rock beat them was in the state championship 3 years ago, or 4 years ago, I guess it was, because they beat North Little Rock the last 2 years in state championship, plus in the home games, because I think Bryant now has close to 30 games undefeated. I mean, it's crazy. And so we're hoping for a three-peat. The first time they won the state championship, which is 3 years ago, was the first time Bryant has ever won a state championship. And then they just won the second one last year. And then the third one, which my understanding is it's the first time a 7A school has, if they win, has won 3 championships in a row. So we're setting records all over here in Bryant. A couple of other things I want to mention before we get started. I have Ted Taylor here, city engineer, and I have in a hazy look. I mean, he's got the fog look on his screen there, I think, to set a mood with his Christmas and stuff. Oh, he's going to try to clean it off. I don't know if that helped or not. Maybe it did. Yeah. So is Chris Treat, our parks director. We're going to talk about some different things we have on there. But before we get to that, I want to mention and remind everybody that we had talked about the chamber had talked about having a Christmas parade, and they'd gone through state approval and stuff like that, and they got all that approval. But with the greater numbers of COVID cases that have been occurring over the past few weeks and seem to continue to occur, they elected to err on the side of caution and cancel that parade. I think it was scheduled for the 12th of December. Right? But anyway, that's been canceled. But some of our neighborhoods have really stepped up this year and done some stuff which is virtual, which is cool. And I got to get my sheet of paper so I get it right. There are a couple of them that I want to point out. I'm like Oak Glen's neighborhood, which they're off of Hilldale, near the intersection of Hilldale and Hilltop. They have a night of lights luminary display that's going to be December 5th, which is tonight, from 6 to 7:30. So if you happen to be in that area and you want to see some really cool lights tonight, feel free to go out there and drive through that neighborhood. They would love that if you did that. And the nice thing about all of these things, you can social distance in all these things. You can stay in your car and stay safe and still enjoy the Christmas lights. West Point Subdivision is having an outdoor decorating contest. Judging will be on December 12th between 6 and 8 p.m. And so that will probably be the best time to go out and look at those lights if you want to do that. When I drove through the neighborhood last night, there are a couple of houses that have some really impressive displays already. We're talking on the line of potentially Christmas vacation light displays. With the Griswolds. So I'm just saying they're stepping up their game. So there's some competition up in that thing. And one that's really special to me is in the Carywood neighborhood. In fact, it's at 2303 Amber Cove. There are these 5 neighborhood kids that are doing a handbell concert. The concert's free. All they do is ask that you come, bring your chair, social distance, wear your mask, and they're going to perform a little concert at 3 p.m. today. If you're at the game, it may be difficult to get there. I'm going to try my best to get there myself. I did meet these kids a couple of months ago, and they did a little interview with me and put out a newsletter for their neighborhood, which is real fun to do. So these kids are just doing all kinds of fun things. So with that, that's all I can think of, but I will throw out somebody saying, oh, that's Chris. Never mind. I'll ignore that. Somebody, if your neighborhood has something coming up like a Christmas display, or if you have a lot of lights and you want people to come see them, send us a message at the city hall, either, or throw it on Facebook on our thing, and we will share that so people can go enjoy the lights. It's a great way to do that this year, honestly. So feel free to do that. And with that, this was kind of, Dana and I were talking earlier this month about what we're going to, I say earlier this month, I guess it was really last month when we were talking about this, since this is the first Saturday of the month. We're talking about what we're going to do today with the December coffee with the mayor. And we decided to give a little look at some of the projects that we've done this year and some of the projects we plan on continuing or doing next year and the following years. So we thought it would be really good to get Chris Treat on here from Parks and talk about his Parks projects and the plan that Parks have that they've done in the past year or two, and plus what they're planning on doing the past few years. In addition to that, we got Ted Taylor, city engineer, who gets all the fun jobs. Okay. He's the guy that gets to figure out how some of these projects go off, including things like the Bryant Parkway to make sure it's done like it's supposed to be, including stormwater projects, sewer projects, water projects. He is the engineer in charge of all of that stuff. So he reviews all the projects we do in the city to make sure they do. So with that, I'm going to start with Ted and let him get some stuff, because I heard rumor that he might have some important things to do today up in Searcy County. But I don't know.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Once again, I've been on a few Zoom meetings, but I'm going to try to go ahead and share my screen and pull up some of these projects so we can kind of give a geo reference to where these are. I know to me, I'm a visual person. I have to see them before I understand what's going on. So with that being said, I'm going to hit my share button. You have to, evidently you have to enable the participant sharing screen.
I do.
And that's what it's saying to me. Host disabled participant screen sharing.
Huh. Let me figure out how to do that real quick. Apparently I'm, again, like I say, I'm very technologically limited on this. I don't see where it says enable. I did that on the other part of Zoom. Preferences, maybe. Here we go. I'm finding it. Share screen. Here we go.
Okay.
I'm working automatically. Advanced. I'm not full screen mode. It's everything's clicked there. Show all sharing options. I'll do that too. Click those buttons just to make sure. Obviously I'm not smart on this. So I'm trying to find where I can do that. I clicked on the share screen and I don't see anything where it's allowing me to do that. Enter full screen, I'll show. Because I did it earlier on it when I logged into the app. I told it to do that, but apparently it didn't do it on this particular one. Don't think it'd be under audio. Any clues on where that might be?
I'll tell you what, if you want to continue to look on it, I can probably speak to some of those, okay, especially some projects that we've completed. Some of the drainage projects that we've worked on recently is areas of around Spring Hill Road, the Johns Loop area. I'd like to point out on that one's really been a public works driven project. They've done it mostly with their own forces. Initially back in 2017, we had some areas there that were heavily flooding, and we did a schematic design early on. It told us it was going to cost about $1.2 million to do all those. But Mark Grimmin with the Public Works Department has been doing it with his own forces and saving a huge amount of money. They're about 60 to 75% complete with all the stuff that the schematic design completed back then. I know the neighbors in that area have seen a lot of the work being done, and all in all, it's been greatly improving that. Some current projects that were is if you've driven down Mills Park Road, you've seen a lot of activity. Now, those are actually two projects. There's the sanitary sewer rehab that goes all the way from Lift Station 5, which is down by Crooked Creek, all the way up to almost to Dell Road. And that project is pretty well wrapping up. They're doing restoration along that. It's been a great deal as far as making that sewer accessible for repairs and maintenance, as well as observation. The other project that recently started off was the one that was crossing there at Mills Park. I know numerous people, any kind of sudden rainfall, there's an area that fills up. It's at the base right there just past Mills Park. And notice there's a lot of chances for hydroplaning. Basically what's going on there is the culvert that crosses Mills Park Road is somewhat undersized, and then the drainage where it goes down through Eastwood is restrictive. It was kind of one of those things that that neighborhood was built before we had a really good.
Hey, Ted, just to let you know, I finally figured it out.
Okay.
So you should be able to share screen. We'll see what happens if you try.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I'm going to, let's see.
I made you a co-host. If I need to make you a host itself, I will, but.
Let's pick this one right here. All right. So I was talking about the Mills Park project.
It worked.
It worked. Yay. Basically, this drainage system here, if you can kind of see, this is where they have a lot of the construction equipment set up. This drainage that comes across here is undersized, and we're replacing. So we're going to have a street cut in there. Now, obviously, well, we know another future project in here is the Public Works Department is when we get completed with this, they're going to overlay Mills Park Road. So you're going to see a lot of activity through the end of the year and the first part of the year on this project. We have also initially, we went and did analysis for the Raintree Debswood area. Let me attempt to pull that project up. Basically, we looked at all of Raintree, Coral Tree, Silkwood, and all those areas as an overall project, because we had a lot of point flooding during the 2017, also as recently as the 2018 and 2019 storm event. The problem with it, the challenge of it, is a lot of that has been scattered. But we kind of broke that up into 9 projects. Some of those we're doing with Public Works forces. I think folks have noticed that recently. That's a project we've known as Project 4. And let me pull that one up right quick. Project 4 is where Shobe turns to Carywood Drive and crosses by Debswood Drive that goes over south by Dell. That culvert system has been undersized and it's been failing. So if you notice, Public Works has gone through and repaired that section and put in a lot larger that allows the water to pass. Typically, the way we do stormwater projects is we do the tailwater first, is give the water a place to relieve to, and then we start working back. We've got 3 more projects that we went out for public bid on that, and we're looking at getting those scheduled for the first of the year. Those projects are known as 2A, which is basically the area around Pattywood Drive. Pattywood Drive. The folks in this neighborhood, if they know, so much drainage goes back behind the houses, and it doesn't go at the back, at the very backyard. It goes right by the back doors of these houses. So we're looking at trying to pick that up and putting it into the street and street drainage where it belongs. That's going to be a significant project. Right now, like I said, we're looking at scheduling, probably after the first of the year on that one. Then we have Project 4. Project 4 is where we're, is the one I just described. Sorry, I think I'm at 2, 4, 6, 8. Project 6 is the area around Coral Tree Drive and Rain Tree. And that involves 2 street crossings where we replacing deficient culvert systems, as well as trenching that's in between drainage easements between houses. We're working on obtaining those easements. There, as a point out there, is all those easements are private. It's really a drainage easement, and folks seem to have a tendency to think, well, if that's an easement, that's easement to the city. It's really an easement to the water. But for us to get in there to work, we have to obtain easements. So people have been very, very helpful in this neighborhood, giving us easements on that. So we look forward to continuing to work with them on that. And then there's Project 8. Project 8 is, I remember in this particular project back during the 2017 flood event, once again, it's at a tailwater location, and it's really just a drainage easement that gets down here and crosses Shobe Road. And the crossing of Shobe Road is not the problem itself. It's that this drainage easement backs up to so many houses that you can't get into it. And there's been fences, yard debris and all that that's clogged that area up. And so that's been one of those we've done kind of a community outreach. It says, hey, watch where you put your fences. And during that event, we had fences that failed and they clogged up this area. And when it did that, it backed up all the way through all the neighborhoods. So we'll be going back through that one and kind of cleaning that out as part of this project. So that's kind of an ongoing project with an older neighborhood. The next identifiable project that I would like to point out too is that we're looking at scheduling after the first of the year is the area around what we call Hilltop and Spring Hill Road. For all those folks that live on the north side of the city that come in and commute in, if you notice during an overnight rainfall event, that area floods and it gets to a point where you can't cross. Well, that's already a hindrance. Well, you go down to another creek crossing that's part of the Owen Creek drainage system. You can't cross there either. I mean, I live on the north side of the city, and trying to get into the city one time, I couldn't get into the city. So this is one of those public safety projects, and it's to improve the drainage around the Spring Hill Road and Hilltop area to at least last, passing. All right, I understand that there's commuting traffic that's a hindrance too. But at some point, we identify that as really as a very severe public safety thing, because at some point you're going to need a fire truck through there. You're going to need a police vehicle through there. You're going to need, an ambulance through there. So, this is really high on our priority to try to get that through. We're still working through obtaining some right-of-way easements there to get this, but we've already got a contractor on board, and we're ready to drop the hammer on this as soon as we get those all nailed out. So those right there are some of those. Now, you mentioned the Parkway project, and that's our exciting project, and I'll pull up some stuff on it. Basically, where we stand on it, and I had to rotate the view on this because unfortunately, when I laid this drawing out, it was north was left to right. So folks are already aware of the termination of the Parkway at the Alcoa 40 Park, and Chris will talk more about Alcoa 40 Park here in a short bit. But this next part that we call Project 2 is the continuation from Shobe all the way down around the airport. So it'll pick back up and split between the Alcoa 40 Park and the Cherry Creek subdivision, and go down and cross over the railroad tracks, and then come in on the west side of the airport. What you're seeing here, the purple line is the actual Parkway. We successfully asked for a grant to continue the trail system with that Parkway that will go all the way down to the elementary school and the junior high. That's the yellow line that you see there. So we will be building the trail system along with the Parkway system, and the construction on that's really scheduled to start later summer. We're thinking probably summer into fall of this year. As part of the addition of the trail, we'll have some additional work to do as far as environmental assessments, and then the approval process. Since there's such a big, large funding, federal funding on this, the review process is Federal Highway Administration, which is actually handed down to RDOT, our friends at RDOT. So it's in the review process. We've actually received most of the review comments on the Parkway itself, and they've been really good. So we don't have any significant design changes. So we feel really good about making our construction start of later summer, but we still have the environmental portion of it to go through. And so folks out there, keep in mind that we have to do that as a public review meeting. That will be on the calendar at some point. We're anticipating somewhere around February for that to kind of be there. So when you get to that point, please come out and take a look at what all that's going to be. It's going to be held virtually. Once again, it's going to be a really cool project just because the trail system. I have to say, I was kind of blown away when we were building Project 1, which was north of here. I looked at how expensive the trail, that 12-foot wide asphalt trail was. And at some point in the middle of all that, I just kind of wondered, is it really worth it? I mean, this thing's more expensive than a road because it's separated from the Parkway and things like that. But after it's open and you go down and you drive by it and you see people on it every day, and that's exciting. So, and I can imagine when we make this other section that goes all the way down to the junior high. People will take advantage of it. And then of course it goes around the Alcoa 40 Park. Of course, there are some complications with our Parkway, and I feel folks are owed an explanation on the intersection of Highway 5 and Parkway. And just a reminder on that. RDOT is doing all the engineering on that. They're scheduled to provide the engineering on that, I think, of March, coming up. And then once we get to that point, we're going to try to figure out how to move that up in the priority, whether or not the city works on trying to provide some funding for it, as well as trying to get some partnership on that so that we can kind of move it to the head of line. Because we recognize it's a significant area of impact, and there's still accidents that happen out there. Let's see, I think those were some of the major projects. We do have some intersection improvement projects, ones at Hilltop and Hilldale. You'll see that one hopefully in the first of this coming year, and that's basically with the elementary school being there and the growth on Hilltop and Hilldale. We recognize that intersection is getting a little bit overloaded, so we're going to do some improvements there. And then of course we got several park projects that I'm sure Chris is ready to talk about. Is there any other questions you guys might have? And haven't checked the YouTube to see if there's anything in particular. Will the Parkway Railroad cross be over the overpass or ground level? It is actually an overpass. It free spans the road, and I can pull up an image of it. It's kind of cool to look at. It free spans like 800 feet over the railroad. It gives like 30 foot of clearance, and the trail goes over it. So, it'll be kind of a cool bridge.
Be neat.
And I think that's the only questions I said. Oh, what's going on Boone Road? Boone Road is part of our continuous maintenance program. Once again, public works driven project. They are going to do some overlay. They came out and did some milling on the lanes in front of the park, and there's a bunch of bad rotten spots, so they had to mill those down. But they're going to be doing an overlay there. We're also doing Public Works is also doing an overlay project. I think I mentioned the one on Mills Park, and then they're also overlaying Evans Loop. We had some utility work in that area. So we have an annual budget as far as doing overlay work, and so that's been part of that project. If there's anything else, I'd be happy to answer on comments. But right now, like I said, there's a lot of other things going on, but those are kind of our highlights. Any other questions?
Ted, I have just one question. When we're talking about the stormwater projects and stuff, you mentioned easements, and they're really water easements, but we also need easements to do the work initially. Now, the easements that we get to do the work, are those just temporary easements?
There's both. Like I said, is anytime that the city gets off of what we call city-owned right-of-way, it's a liability issue. any damage that's done, any personnel injuries or things like that. So we're real protective of where we work. And so if we need to work in areas that extend outside those right of ways, we acquire temporary construction easements to be in those areas. And then some cases we get permanent easements because we have utilities in there and we need access to those utilities. And then there's also that level of right of way, like street right of way, that we pretty much safeguard, you know, anything that's associated that gets built in there. I mean, there can be personal property things within the right of way, but it's one of those things that if something happens to it, it's, you know, it's not the liability of the city to take care of it. So.
Gotcha. I just wanted to be clear about that, because I'm sure some people are wondering, well, if they're going to come get an right away, you know, an easement, are they taking our property or something like that? So I just wanted that to be out there, because some people get a little touchy.
Yeah, I understand. And like I said, I mean, you know, personal property is important to us too. I mean, we like to be good neighbors. We like to leave it better than we get there, than before we got there. So.
We definitely don't try to take over property just because we want to, that's for sure.
No.
We don't need any extra additional property to take care of right now.
Exactly. I would like to comment that I don't normally sport this woolly beard, but I'm just trying to be like my idol, Chris Treat, park director extraordinaire.
I think it's more like trying to be like Santa Claus.
Oh, that hurts.
Well, I thank you, Ted. I can't think of any questions. I can't, with your screen sharing still, I can't see the questions on mine. So.
Well, I stopped sharing there. How's that?
If there's any other people that have asked questions for it, I can't see any yet, but so we're good with that, I think. Get it right.
Oh, we had some good comments here. That's it. Thank you for overlaying Evans Loop. Appreciate overlaying Boone Road.
Yeah, good deal.
We take negative comments too. I mean, sometimes folks, I mean, hey, look, everybody's passionate about what goes on around them, and we're sensitive to that. So, I mean, if
absolutely,
you have some concerns or anything like that, you know, feel free to address them.
Yeah, definitely. I always want to say, if you have concerns, feel free to reach out to the city, and we will do our best to address those concerns. Sometimes it does take a while to eliminate a problem that's been there, because honestly, like in the Carywood area where all those stormwater problems are, those problems have been there since those houses were constructed, unfortunately.
Yeah. That's, I mean,
because the code at that time, I think, didn't exist enough to do what it really should have done for those houses. And as a result of that, we have to go back and fix those. And when you go back and fix things like that, it always winds up being more expensive than if it would have been done right in the first place.
Exactly. And I mean, that's, we just went through an update on our stormwater manual that, you know, makes it more things are required as far as keeping these things from happening. So.
Exactly. And, you know, because, you know, unfortunately, the city has had to learn from our mistakes, you know, in the past, and we try not to repeat those. So when somebody comes in with a new subdivision or something like that, we put certain requirements on them so they don't generate more stormwater downstream or anything. And some people get upset about that, but it protects the surrounding property. So we have to do that. So.
Yeah, I mean, within the city, we've all fielded that call of people with flooding houses. It's not an enjoyable situation, and we want that. And so, yeah, we prioritize, like I said, the element of public safety is to the utmost, like the Spring Hill Hilltop Road thing, like that. When you can't get traffic through there, and you have emergency vehicles, that's the highest. And then when you get flooding houses, people getting out of their homes, running out of their homes, that's up there. So, you know,
I look at the Parkway as kind of a public safety thing as well, because, you know, if you look at the railroad, there's only one crossing in the city of Bryant across that railroad, and that's Reynolds Road. So if something were to happen to that bridge, get damaged, and you couldn't use it, then you'd have to go all the way into Alexander or into Benton to cross the railroad, and it would just be a big burden for our police and fire crews. So, you know,
exactly. And then you have the element of congestion on Reynolds Road itself. I mean, there's a level of public safety there.
So anyway, I appreciate all you giving us that update, Ted. I guess we'll go ahead and release the Chris. and let him talk about parks and some stuff like that. Because honestly, what I think about when I think about parks, what I appreciate so much about that is they provide a quality of life for this city. I mean, the stuff that you do in engineering does as well, but for recreational activities and stuff, they're so important for us as we go through. So it's real important for us to have good parks and good trails and things like that, so people can exercise and do what they need and improve their health. Because as we've all seen with the recent pandemic we have, that if you have certain illnesses and you wind up getting COVID, it can create a greater burden on your body, and there's a greater chance of, let's say, a poor outcome. So anyway, with that, if Chris wants to jump, more than welcome to start talking about some of these projects that we've done over the last year or two, just a brief overview, and then talk about what we're doing now and in the future.
Sure. Well, thank you, Mayor, and Ted. Be careful up in Searcy County. You know, that's the Treat Homestead up there. And so if you need some backup, just let me know. I'll send my cousins and my uncles out there.
I may, yeah.
I want to thank Mayor Scott just for your support of the Parks Department and Council. I mean, I think it's pretty clear over the last 2 years you've made it a priority to get some of these parks that have were neglected fixed up. And obviously, the main one that has seen the biggest change is Ashley Park, where most of us, if you grew up in Bryant, we grew up at Ashley Park, and we've been able to renovate the entire park, all new ball fields, new fencing, new lighting, and we've got a playground that should be done in a week or two, and a restroom that we hoped would be done by the end of the year, but because of COVID, a lot of the fixtures that are going into that restroom are on back order. So we'll have everything pretty much done. I expect to get that stuff in the first of the year and have that restroom done. It'll definitely be done by springtime when the park really starts to get used. And what's really important about that park is not only for this neighborhood that I live in, for families to use, but also it's taken pressure off of Bishop Park because it sees so much activity and there's such a need for more ball field space. It's a major priority for our residents. It's a major priority for our department. I don't know if people realize how much goes on at Bishop Park in a normal year. We are one of the premier youth sports tourism places, parks in the state. And so we've got a lot going on, and especially in the middle of baseball season where you've got a rec league going and you've got tournaments every weekend. It's important to have a space we can send those teams. It's important to have a space to let those fields rest. That's one of the most important things is over the last few years, we've been overseeding our ball fields, and we've got to get people off of them so that those fields can rest and get healthy. And it's the reason they look so good now. But Ashley Park has been a major priority, and we're really proud of that. If you haven't seen it in a while, if you grew up here, you need to go by. It's really nice. And then also Alcoa 40 has been a major priority for us. Those parks were the two parks that needed the most work. And we were able to put a dog park at Alcoa 40 that's been extremely popular. A lot of folks are using that dog park. And with the Parkway going through there, that park becomes more and more important as a focus in our community. We want that park in the future to be a trail hub for our entire park system in our city. That basically you can go to Alcoa 40, get on our trail system there, and get to anywhere, any other park in the city. And that's a dream down the road, but we'll get there. And so we've got a pavilion and restroom that Ted has designed. It's really nice that will be going in 2021, but City Council voted for that funding in 2020. The other thing that we're really proud of is our upgrades at Bishop Park, specifically as a home for Fall Fest. As you know, Fall Fest is a major event for our city, and we wanted to have a home for that event. It's really nice, and so we built a pavilion it's kind of designed like an amphitheater. We've added some electrical infrastructure there, so that when you do come to Fall Fest, when we've got 2,000 or 3,000 people in the park, it's going to feel real nice. It's going to be a great venue for a city festival, and Popson Park that also will go in there. So I think if you haven't been by to see those improvements, come by and check them out. I think you'll be pleased. And so moving forward, I just wanted to kind of lay out what we're hoping to accomplish in the next few years. And one of the things I always tell residents, a couple of things is, these are your parks. We need to hear from you. Let us know what your expectations are, what your desires are, and we really try to respond to you and what you are looking for in your park system. So all of these things that I'm going to go over are things that have come from the community, that we've heard from you. The challenge is always funding, right? And City Council is great. They allow us to come and request those funds and work through these priorities. But at the end of the day, you've got to be the advocate with council and the mayor's office and the Parks Department and say, hey, here's what we'd like to see. And then we'll work really hard to get those things done as we can get them done. In 2021, we want to focus on the park that hasn't had a lot of DLC in a while, and that's Spring Hill Park. We are working on designs for a new playground, swing set. So we had a meeting out there, and that's one of the things we heard from the residents there, that they wanted a playground there with some swing sets. We need lighting there. We need fencing there. And so we're putting together a plan for that that we'll be letting those residents know about, and also asking council to fund that project in 2021. There's also a desire to see some more field lighting at Midland Park. There's a couple of fields there that don't have lighting, and council has set aside some seed money for that project. And so we'll be looking to try to get that done as we try to raise some funds and figure out how to fund that. But those are our two biggest ones, I would say, in 2021 would be Spring Hill Park and lights at Midland. In 2022, we'd really like to focus in on Mills Park. We've invested a lot in Mills Park in the last few years. It's my favorite park. It's the park I grew up at. It's just wonderful. The playground there and the pool have had significant upgrades, but we really need to upgrade the pavilion there. We need to spend some resources on our tennis court, and we need it to kind of combine as a tennis plus pickleball. Pickleball is a growing sport. We want to provide more space for that, those residents. And then we need to continue to upgrade our trail. That trail, we spent some grant money on that trail. If you use that trail, you can see what we did. We focused on some of the more difficult areas to maintain that were kind of washing out. And so we made sure those areas are protected by better drainage. And so what we'd like to do is little by little repair all of that walking trail. And then in 2023, we need to start really looking at what are we going to do with the 40 acres that we own west of Midland Park. It's in a lot of it is we can't really build anything on it because it's in the floodplain. But we need to come up with a plan. I envision something like a Mills Park north of the interstate, trails, green space, but that doesn't mean that's what's going to be there. What we'll be doing, hopefully in the next few years, is listening to you, the residents that live around there, and what you would like. We've got a connection there to that Parkway Elementary, so we'll be working with the school district. So we want to have a kind of comprehensive plan that really everybody wants to use, everybody sees as something positive. So that'll be really big. That'll be a major investment for us as a city in that 40 acres. And then finally, and it'll probably be around 2023 when we actually are able to kind of get things going, or we're getting it worked on, but actual construction, and that's a skate park. Young man, Sam Peck, who is a sophomore at Bryant High School, has been leading this effort to get a skate park built. Been blessed by the council and blessed by the mayor. And so we're working on maybe looking at some initial designs, placement of that, and hopefully we'll get that approved this year. And then we're going to have to work hard on getting some funds raised. So I envision 2021 kind of getting some design and vision for that skate park. And then 2022 and probably a lot of 2023, honestly. Fundraising, grant writing, working hard to get that project funded. Now that's not all. We've got a much larger list that if you want to see that, just give me a call. We've got plans for more restrooms at Bishop. We've got plans to upgrade some more stuff at Alcoa 40. Basically every part.
I replied to it.
We've got some.
I replied to your email.
We got some plans for some TLC. But again, we always like to hear from you. And even if it's a concern, one of the things, and I close with this, one of the things that I would really appreciate, if you've got a concern, the best place to take that concern is me, the Parks Department. Go and report a concern. If it's a programming concern, whatever. Facebook and social media doesn't get stuff done, and I've had people complain about stuff on social media, and I reach out to them and they really don't want to talk to me, and that's not as helpful as just let us know. We're here to serve you. These are your parks, and one of the exciting things, programming wise, that hopefully we'll get to do in 2021. Obviously, depending on how things go with the vaccine, this will be fluid, but we've been dreaming about, and we're getting it together for a mobile recreation program where we're going to bring mobile parks recreation to your neighborhood. It's going to be really exciting and really fun. We've seen it done. We've kind of copied it from a lot of other cities that do it. And so anyway, look forward to that. I hope we're going to be able to pull that off starting this spring, maybe this summer, Bryant Parks Mobile Recreation Unit. So Bryant Parks coming directly to your neighborhood where you like that. Any questions or anything, Mayor, you see?
Yeah, I don't see any questions right now. Leewood did say hi. One thing I would want to mention, though, we have over the past couple of years had a great emphasis on Alcoa 40 and Ashley Park. And part of the reason for that is because they had been neglected for a number of years, and they had been neglected such that really at both of those parks, there were not bathrooms available. So if people need to use bathrooms, if we didn't have porta potties there, they would not be able to use the bathroom there. And people played games there, softball games and baseball games and stuff. And that can be a real problem for things like that. So, we appreciate all that you have done to move a plan forward. And, I look forward to hearing more from the citizens about what they want in some of these other areas, so we can start putting that in the plan as well and continue to improve the quality of life here in the city of Bryant. So, I appreciate all you're doing with regard to that.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate the fact that you mentioned the skate park and Sam Peck, because that young man has done a phenomenal job on this. He came to coffee with the mayor last year one time and made a statement, said, hey, he would like this. And I got him in contact with you, and y'all have been working together on it for a while. And then he came to city council earlier this year, and people said, yes, that's a good thing, which is great to hear. This is the way things get done in cities. The citizens ask for it and they present what they want, and then we work towards that goal. So, I think that's so good to be able to do. I would love it if one day we were the recreation destination for the center of Bryant or center of the state, because we are the geographic center of Arkansas. And while I was sitting here talking to you, some of the things that I've missed this year because of the pandemic that we've had, we've had a couple of or Fall Fest and things like that. We used to have 5K here and a 5K there. We've not been able to do those so much, and I'm hoping we get back to those. And looking at the Parkway Trail, I envision a way maybe to incorporate that Parkway Trail when it's all the way done, and maybe making a half marathon called the Center of Arkansas.
I like the way you're
Like
thinking.
that, because
Yes.
I like to kind of run. I'm not very fast, I promise you. Most people can outrun me, and that's okay. When I'm running, I'm not running against them. I'm just trying to finish and get that cool medal. I'm not going to lie. So
Hey,
that's a dream of mine.
maybe call it the Andrew Scott half marathon.
Let's not get crazy now.
Oh, okay.
Let's not get crazy now. I mean,
Well,
Leewood has asked
one
the question, are there plans for the 14 acres adjacent to Debs Wood Park? I can answer that. It's not park property right now. It is city property. Right now, we do not have set plans for it. It doesn't mean it might not be on somebody's radar for something. We've looked at it for a couple of other projects that we don't think it's a good fit. And I think if Ted can probably check this, but I think if I remember right, there's a fairly significant floodway there.
Yeah, that's correct. It's, I mean, that creek system that comes down there between Dell and goes all the way down and intersects Debswood, dissects that property. And so it makes it real hard to do anything in there.
Yeah.
And it backs up to neighborhoods and things like that. So, I mean, yes, it would be, it looked good as a city park. It's just one of those things that, we have to figure out how to deal with the floodplain in that area.
Right. There has been talk, I think on the master street plan, there's also a plan for a connector through there, if I remember right. I can't remember for sure, but.
That is correct. And it was to connect basically Debswood up into Dell. And so, we hold ourselves to that same thing that we hold our developers. If we come through and make a development, we have to abide by the master transportation plan. So it makes it expensive to do that portion too.
So just with that in mind, yes, we are continually looking at that site for things to do with it. Because I mean, it's property the city owns, so we can hopefully develop it, but there are costs associated with it, like he was saying, and with the road being through there, that makes it additionally expensive. But if we can get that road constructed over time, we can definitely look at, it would provide better access for that area too. So, which is kind of nice. So, I don't see any other questions. I saw Smokey Rando said he liked the idea that I came up with. I'm assuming that's for that half marathon idea. So I appreciate that. Maybe we can make that a dream come true for all of us sometime in the future. Hopefully. With that, I don't see any other questions. Miss Ramsey's appreciating the bathrooms at the parks. I know when I'm at the parks, I appreciate it as well. I've discovered that the importance of bathrooms as I've grown older. I'm just going to leave it at that. So,
Mayor, I got a little bit of trivia for you.
okay.
Interesting. The first ever state championship in any sport, City of Bryan.
That's got to be basketball, Chris.
Well, I wish it was, but it's not.
Oh,
Or that.
was it track?
No, tennis.
Tennis. Wow.
Yeah, tennis back in the 70s. Yeah. Now basketball in the early 80s and throughout the 80s was dominant. There were several excellent players that came through in those.
Was that the excellent players in the 80s or were they excellent players in the 90s?
80s.
Okay.
Kind of took a dip after 90 when people graduated.
Okay. Now, who might those people be? Those phenomenal players, Chris?
Like a Shane Broadway.
Shane Broadway. Yeah, I can see him being a real good basketball player.
Oh yeah.
Could he dunk? Did he dunk?
Well, if you put a chair in front of the goal, and he was phenomenal, great hops with the use of the chair.
I do have a question because I can't remember. As I mentioned earlier, I'm getting a little bit old, and maybe I forget some of the history at times with basketball, especially. Did they have 3-point shot back in the 80s, or did that start?
They did. That was 80, I think it was 87, maybe 86, that the 3-point shot came.
So is that when Shane, was that Shane's specialty? Was he dropping the threes there?
Shane's specialty was a lot of cheering from the bench. He was very enthusiastic. He's known to wave a towel with the best of them. Very, very important part of the team, no doubt.
I heard rumor that he scored some winning shot in a state championship. Was that him?
Yes, I'd love. Yeah, well, sorry, Shane. He hugged me after I hit the shot.
Oh, it was you that hit the shot. Okay.
Yeah, and it was a little
I
awkward.
couldn't remember.
Oh, I hope he's watching.
I hope he is too. If not, we definitely need to get this to him so he can see at least the last
That's
couple of
right.
minutes of this. Well,
That's right.
well, gentlemen, Ted, Chris, I really appreciate y'all being on here
Thank you.
today. I haven't seen any questions come up lately, and but I appreciate it. I do want to mention a couple of things. We got a few. I guess it's the 5th, so we got 20 days till Christmas. Okay, and everybody knows unfortunately, everybody's dealing with this pandemic, and we've been dealing with it for months and months and months and months. And we get weary and tired of hearing it. But I think it's important for us to continue being careful with this, because we don't want to make get our family and friends sick. So I just ask that you take the precautions that you need to when you go out. Be sure to wear your mask, social distance where you can, do everything they say. I do know the CDC has changed some guidance on the way you have to isolate or quarantine if you get an exposure and you think you may have been exposed. It's a little bit complex to deal with, and we'll probably put out a graphic sometime next week on the city site to try to help explain that a little bit better. But basically what my understanding of the CDC stuff is that just came out, it deals with people that have been exposed to somebody that has COVID. So let's say my wife had COVID and then I was exposed to that, then there are certain things I could do to shorten my time of isolation. And they're looking at that they're saying the 14-day time is the best time at all if possible. But if you can't do that, then there's some ways to potentially shorten that. So think about that when you're out there. Just be careful around your family and friends, because we don't want to get everybody sick or each other sick. And I was wanting to get a little shout out to remind people what the symptoms are, because they're really kind of like the flu. And we are coming into flu season, so that makes it even harder to deal with things like this. Between the flu, if you get the flu shot, then that helps protect you from that. They've developed the vaccines for COVID, so those will be coming out soon. They will be limited on the front end, so it will take several months to maybe a half year or maybe even a year, I don't know, to get everybody vaccinated. And I know some people are kind of worried about vaccines, but I personally say get out and get a shot. I mean, you're going to be okay, because I know that's what I'm going to do as soon as it's available for me, just to be safe. But fever, cough, shortness of breath, different things like that can be symptoms for COVID. Fatigue, muscle aches. It's really, if you think about flu symptoms, that's the same symptoms. Now, the unique thing about COVID is one of the symptoms that you don't get with the flu that you get with that is a loss of sense of taste and smell. And if you've experienced it like I did, I'm telling you, it's the weirdest thing ever. I mean, you're eating something and you can't smell it or taste it, and it just doesn't make it fun to do. I'm just saying. So just be careful out there with the holiday season coming up. I also want to mention the fact, I do want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And generally, we do Coffee with the Mayor on a monthly basis on the first Monday or first Saturday of every month. The first Saturday of January will be January 2nd. And just to let everybody know, we will not be doing Coffee with the Mayor in the month of January. My assistant, Dana, would really like a first Saturday off after that, because she has to come in and help me with dealing with all these technological issues that I struggle. So I appreciate all that she does on these, and everybody else in the city that helps me with these things as well. So we're going to take January off from Coffee with the Mayor, and we'll start back in February. And so between now and then, if you do have any questions or comments or suggestions for parks or anything like that, send us an email, throw it on the City of Bryant Facebook page or something to let us know these things so we can keep track of what you want and what your desires and wishes are. So unless Ted or somebody has anything else, I'm ready to sign off and say I will see y'all in February. And hopefully, go ahead, Ted.
I think Chris is volunteering to do the January coffee with Chris.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Wait a minute, Ted.
City offices are closed.
I'm not sure that, huh?
City offices are closed Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and New Year's Day.
Dana wanted me to remind you, city offices are closed Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and New Year's Day. In other words, she's telling me that she's not going to be at work those days. And neither will anybody else, to be real. I'm actually going to try to take those days off myself. So I appreciate everything everybody does. And if Chris, do you have anything you need? Anything else? Okay. I saw you shake your head no. And Ted, are you good? Okay. With that, I'm going to say, wish everybody a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and all that fun stuff. If you can, go see the Bryant Hornets play at War Memorial Stadium today. The game starts about noon, I think, or if RJ Hawk says to be exact, 12:10. But I'm going to be there before then, so that's okay. If you can't get there, it's going to be televised on AETN today because all the state championships are televised on AETN. So get out and watch Bryant Hornets whip up on North Little Rock. Okay. Brenda Miller has asked when the December council virtual meeting is. I believe that is the 15th of December, which is a week from this coming Tuesday. So it is virtual. The council members will be there. The public will be able to video in or watch YouTube video on it as it's happening because we'll stream it live. And so if you have any questions or comments, feel free to send those to us as well. Email them to us. That way we can, if we need to, we can read those into the comments. It's always good to get the input from the public on that. So without further ado, I think, Smokey Rando says their daughter is playing in the band today. So that's good. That's always fun to hear the band. My kids were band kids too, so it's always fun. So without that, I'm going to sign off and say, again, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and let's all just be safe out there and enjoy ourselves and get out and drive around a little bit in the evenings and see some of these beautiful Christmas lights in the neighborhoods. I hear there may be some. If anybody knows where the Treat household is, there may or may not be lights on it. I don't know. But the tree behind him is really nice looking. So with that, I will say see y'all later and